Right, guys, so we're back with Giveback TV and our series Behind the Brand. We're here in our new settings at Reading Podcast Studio, and we've got a good friend of ours from our football team, Simeon Howe, who's here today representing S6 Academy. So, Simeon, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so obviously I'm Simeon Howe, teammate of Moses up at Giveback FC. Been playing, from beginning of the season. Didn't quite get pre-season, but been there for most of it. I think I hit you up, didn't I? I hit you up on Instagram and said to you at the beginning, like, let's see what you're doing, quite like it, try to get me involved. And then it took a couple of weeks. And I think then Whitty, you might have messaged me and said, like, yeah, Sim, come down. I've had a couple of players leave. I think you do well with the team. And at first, to be honest, I was just gonna, with the age and that, I was just gonna jump in the reserves, to be honest. But Whitty said, yeah, come in the first team, and yeah, it's been good. Played well, got myself back fit and that. Yeah, I've really enjoyed it, man.
Brilliant, and I'm glad to hear that. So let's start off a little bit about yourself. Obviously, I'm guessing you was born in Reading. What school did you go?
So yeah, West Reading boy. So Oxford Road as well. Where I was born, West Reading. But I went to Hugh Farringdon, Blessed Hugh Farringdon as they call it. So I had to make the little short journey across into Southcote. But it was linked to my primary school anyway, so most people went to primary school were there. And yeah, it's a little small school, but it had a big Caribbean. There's a lot of Caribbean kids that went there. I'm not sure if it's like the Christian type thing, why, but there's a lot of black kids, a lot of Caribbean kids. So yeah, fitted in well. A lot of people I still chill with now were there. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I had a good time at school, and it's what got me into football, to be honest. Brilliant.
Okay, so at what age did you start playing football then?
Do you know what? I started proper late. So, like most people, I played football at primary school and infant school, in the playground, just kicking around. But I never actually got into a team until I was about 9 or 10. So, like a lot of people, Dad was working 9 to 5, Mum was working 9 to 5. Just couldn't get there. Mum didn't drive and stuff, and they weren't massively into football anyway. So I remember asking them, but unless there was a school team, I couldn't get into it. It weren't until a good friend of mine, I think his name, Craig McGivern. So, and if he's watching this, DJ2 Play, a little name drop in there. But yeah, he got me into it, and I think I went across to Midway, and that was my first little taster.
Okay, so what was the first team you played for? Was it your school team, or did you join like a local side?
We had a school team. It was English Martyrs. Used to play a little bit. It wasn't anything serious. You play against a team across the road, St Michael's, and a few other teams, and then I joined Midway, like I say, about 9, and I was a little striker, fast them days.
Ball over a striker?
Yeah, that's how I started. I was a striker till I was about 13, 14 actually. Even when I went to Reading, when I eventually went to Reading, I was a striker to start with. I was converted into a centre midfielder by Brendan Rodgers.
Okay.
Yeah. So
obviously you've mentioned that you was at Reading. Now let's go a little bit back before you've gone down into Reading. What local clubs did you start off, and then how did Reading pick you up?
Do you know, it was a weird one. And I say this to people all the time. Like, obviously, as you know, I do my one-to-ones. I do S6 Academy, and I say there's no rush getting into academies. Mine was just a natural sort of thing. It was, and I know a few other people who had the same sort of experience where I was literally down my park, a local park, Kensington Park, and kicking ball, and this guy called Bob Hussein, he used to run a little, just like a community thing, just pay £1, go and play football. There's no skills, there's nothing, just go and play football with 20 kids just running around, tackling each other, smashing each other. And then one day he goes, you know what, mate, do you play for a team? And I was like, yeah, I play like grassroots, whatever. He goes, if you don't mind, I'm gonna come to your house and speak to your dad, because I think you're good enough to go and play for Reading. And that was that. I think I was about 10 at the time. Okay. And that was it. Yeah.
So did he eventually go and speak to your dad, I'm guessing?
He literally followed me home that day and just knocked on my door with me and said, like, yeah, I think your son's really good. I'd like to get him to come down to Reading and come for a trial. And it was a weird one because, like I say, my dad liked football, but he owned his own business at the time. Actually, he does cars and stuff, and he was just busy. You know what it's like. He was working, trying to put food on the table, so he didn't have time to get me here and there. So even when I got the trial for Reading, I went there and I'm pretty sure I got in straight away, but I didn't go back for like 3 weeks because I couldn't get to training and stuff. So,
serious.
But eventually, yeah, obviously I'd done well, so they kept on, and I eventually sorted something out. My dad got to take me, and yeah, that was it, man. Just got in there, and I just had a love for football. Like I was always a ball at my foot. We had a tiny garden, but I was in there playing matches against myself and that. So yeah, that was my start anyway.
Okay, and how many years was you at Reading for?
So, like I say, I was 9, maybe 10 when I first started. I think I was about year 5, year 6 maybe. And I was there till I was 20, so 10 years I was there. So I went straight through the academy. It was School of Excellence when I first started. They were in what's League One now. Got promoted to the Championship. And yeah, I went all the way through the academy, got a scholarship. Then I got a pro, then I got extended to another pro. And yeah, I think I was just turned 20 when I finally, I left or whatever. And they got promoted to the Premiership actually. Okay,
so at what age was it when you turned pro?
So when you leave school, you get most it's options. But you get like a 3-year scholarship is what I got anyway. So I left school at 15. I'm like one of the youngest in my year, my August baby. So I was 15 when I left school, and I got a 3-year scholarship. I completed that, and then yeah, they offered me and one of my good friends, Louis Soers. So some people watching might know him. He's played pro all the way through. So me and him got offered a pro. After the first year, Louis left. He went to Barnet, and yeah, I got another one, and that was it. So 2 years pro after the 3-year scholarship.
Okay, now obviously you mentioned about the scholarship. There might be some viewers who might not understand how that works. Can you just give a little description of how does the scholarship system work?
Yeah, so it's what all the academy boys will be looking to get to. So from you start, like whether you're 5, 6, all the way through, it's what you're aiming for when you leave school. You get like a full-time football and a little bit of education. So you go to college for like 2-3 days a week. You get to I think nowadays you get to choose what you do. So back in my day, it was sort of like you're just thrown into doing sports, some type of sports course, something you probably don't even need. And looking back, I probably would have done something different when I was there. But you sort of just get, obviously everyone thinks they're gonna be a footballer at the time, so I've just done the same course as everyone else. And then yeah, you train for the rest of the week. You in with the first team reserves. You're cleaning the first team's boots and stuff, cleaning the change rooms and mixing, just doing loads of training. Yeah, so it's the dream as a kid or whatever. And yeah, you're just trying to make it.
Okay, brilliant. So obviously, coming through in the academy, I'm guessing not everyone could successfully make it through. Did you have any people around you who unfortunately didn't get to make it where you did?
Yeah, so there was like. It was a weird one because obviously, to me, I started young, but obviously, if you look at nowadays, it wasn't that young. But to me, everyone when I was at everyone, I kind of all my friends I grew up with were in and around Reading anyway. So around the academy, a lot of like I said, I was a massive football person, so most of my friends were footballers. So as I went through, like year on year out, I'd get someone who was getting released or sort of left. A lot of my best friends I'm still friends with now, they got released, whether it was 10, 12, 14, or the hardest one would have been like when you get into year 11, and obviously, so you're thinking, oh, am I going to get a scholarship? Is that going to be my future? Or am I going to get released? And obviously, yeah, maybe go and look for another club or different career type thing. And yeah, a lot of my best friends, like a guy called Jason Beckles, a guy who works with me now with S6 Academy, Matthew Farmelo, got released. And yeah, Adam Fury, sorry, got a scholarship. But yeah, there's countless names who were really good players as well, some of them, but they can only take 3 players out of, I think it was 10, 11 at a time. So yeah, they take 3 and the rest, unfortunately, get told, yeah, sorry, but gotta move on. Okay.
So obviously you was at Reading, you've now made it, you're playing in the Championship.
I think, you know, look, it's a long time ago, what, 36 now, so that was like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was in what it would be called the League One now at the time. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we were still in League One. Someone might obviously have a look and it might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's in League One, but we was like near the top. We was always second and third. We get in the playoffs and miss out quite often and stuff. But either way, we was in around that level. And yeah, like I said, I was doing really well at the time, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be a professional footballer, like most people think at that age. Okay.
Now, I heard in the grapevine that there was some link between you and the Reggae boys.
Yeah, so yeah, in my short career, I had a few things I'd done. So obviously I was at Reading at the time, and before the Reggae Boys came along, I went and played for England actually. So I think I was 15 at the time, and a few like obviously we were playing against the likes of Man United, Man City, Arsenal, Tottenham, week in, week out. So you're playing against the best, and a few of my boys got trials for England and stuff, and I think I was one of the last ones to get a trial actually. But I got a trial, got sent across, and got there, and there's guys from Man United, like I say, Arsenal, all kinds of stuff, and yeah, I'm from Little Reading. I don't think there was anyone else at that level at the time. And even the coaches, I think they was kind of looking at me like, what's this guy doing there, sort of thing. Yeah. And I was always a big guy, so they probably thought, maybe he's a defender or defensive midfielder. But at that time, like, you might not realise it now, Giveback, but I had decent feet in it. So I remember one training session, I picked up the ball and I've like bobbed and weaved through 2 or 3 players. And the guys, I remember the coach, I think his name was Les Reed. So he even works at Southampton now. And he looked at me, he was like, oh, you got a bit in that sort of thing. And so he gave me a bit of respect after that. And then, yeah, I went back to my club. Didn't really expect nothing, but I got in, and yeah, I was played for England for off and on for 2 or 3 years. That game in particular was a massive one for me because I played with Wayne Rooney.
Oh, serious?
Yeah, the first game we played against Scotland, won 5-0, and
wow.
Yes.
So what position was you playing back then?
So I was, see, do you know what it is? It's a mad one because I was always a big guy in it, but I had quite good feet. Like at Reading, they'd like play me in the 10 sort of attacking roles, 10 winger or whatever. But because I was a big guy, in England, they'd always play me holding. They'd like get me, so it's kind of like how I do for Giveback, get me on the ball, pass it out. But I was always, my attributes at the time was driving forward sort of thing, get the ball, drive forward, get the ball, drive forward or whatever. So yeah, DM for England, and then maybe a bit more of an attacking midfielder for Reading.
Okay, so then how did the Reggae Boys come along?
So yeah, Reggae Boys came along a little bit later in my career, even probably about 3 years. So I was a pro now, I was at Reading still, I was about 18, I think, 18, 19. And had a few little injuries. I think I dislocated both of my shoulders, had an ankle injury and stuff, and I wasn't getting a look in at England. And I changed agents, and he was, funny enough, Jamaican. And he was like, oh, how's it going with England? Like, what do you think? And I was like, I don't think I'm going to get back in. Looking back now, I probably just needed to be patient. Probably 6 months, played a few more reserve games, maybe got near the first team, I might have got back in. But in my head, that's it, I was done. I wasn't going to get back in. And he goes, well, like I said, I've got some connections in Jamaica. Like, would you be interested in going and switching nationalities and type thing? You might get close to the first team quicker. And I was like, yeah, sounds a good idea. My dad's Jamaican as well. And he was like,
both
yeah.
your parents Jamaican?
So my mum's Bayesian and my dad's Jamaican. So it's a nice little mix or whatever. So so it was, jumped at the opportunity. I thought, yeah, it'd be great to go out there, have a look. Went out there, loved it. And obviously I'm in Jamaica, so I was out there for 2 weeks. And
Sorry, was that your first time out there?
No, I'd been there when I was younger, like 10 or 12. Like, I think my auntie Marilyn got married out there when I was like 12. So we went out there, the whole family and stuff, one time. But this was like, 6, 7 years later, and I was going out there on my own at this time. First time I'd ever been abroad on my own.
Oh, it's by yourself?
Yeah, it was on my own. So I went with me, my agent, and 2 or 3 players. One guy from Bolton and another guy from another club in England. We went out there. It's sort of like a trial basis again, actually, because it was for the under-23s, and I was like 17, maybe 18. Okay. Went out there, done well, and they're like, yeah, we like you, want to come back, we want to sign you up and stuff. And I went and played in the Olympics with them, or Olympic qualifiers. Went to Cuba, where did I go? Went to Cuba, I went to so many places, man. I went to Cuba, Mexico, went to Miami, and obviously it's in Jamaica and that. Went loads of places, just obviously playing these games and that. And I loved it, man. I was out there. At that point, I would be going to Jamaica like for 2 weeks, 3, 4, 5 times a year, because you're going out there, playing these games, do a bit of training. Yeah, it was great. It was great.
So what year was that?
Testing me now, Moses, man. So like I say, I'm 36 now. This was when I was between 17 and 18, so you'd have to do the maths. I have to look into it.
I'm just thinking, because I'm a big fan of the Reggae Boys.
Yeah.
I've been from a young age. What players was you around back then? Just want to see if I can recognise any. So
like I say, I was in under 23s. So it was some players did go on and play for the first team. There's one guy in particular would have been Omar Daly. I was around. He was around Dion Burton. That was the age where he would have been in the first team. Dion Burton, he was the biggest star that would have been there, and he was in the first team at the time. But the under 23s, there probably wouldn't be any major names apart from maybe Omar, like I say, because he actually come to Reading at the same point when I went out there. He come and play. He was on loan from a Jamaican team to Reading for about a year. Okay. So we'd go out there together, and we both were playing the under 23s, and he was in and around the first team. But yeah, Yeah, I trained with the Jamaican first team a couple of times, but I mainly was in around the under 23s, like we were trying to get into the Olympics. Obviously, didn't quite make it in the end. Actually, I think we got knocked out by Mexico at their ground, and I was supposed to look up for our come actually, because the stadium we played in was the same stadium England played Brazil in World Cup in the 1970s or something. It's a massive stadium, like 100,000 seater.
Oh, serious?
And pitch was a joke. Like pitch was so big. And yeah, that's what done us, because obviously in Mexico as well, it's high altitude, so we were playing out there, and yeah, it was always tough playing them games, but yeah, it was enjoyable.
Did you ever meet Ricardo Garno?
Yeah, funny story, like actually. So I think it was a game we was playing in Cuba, and we'd gone out there for a qualifier. We drew 1-1, and to get to where we was going next, we needed to stop off in Miami. So we've gone back to Jamaica, and then our next game we need to stop over Miami before we go going wherever we go next. And so the guys are like, it's Jamaica, so we ain't got no big 5-star hotels. It's a bit like, here's some money, get a hotel. It was like basically do it yourself, but the guys were experienced, they knew what they're doing. 3 of the guys I was chilling with, I was the youngest. We're gonna go to Gardner's Mrs. house. Okay. Like we're friends with him, good friends. She said we can stay over, save a bit of money and stuff. So 3 of us are gone there, me, Omar Daly, and these other 2 guys. We've like gone across, and we've got a couple of days to chill before we fly out again.
Well, was he at Bolton them times?
He's at Bolton them times. And she's gone, do you not want to go raving? And she's like, I'll just wash your trackies and stuff before we go raving. I'm like, yeah, cool. She's washed my Jamaican trackie. It's got my passport in it. And then she's brought it out, and she's got my passport, and there's nothing left. All that's left is like the plastic bit on your passport of your face. I'm in America now, I'm in Miami. Like, I'm thinking, I'm done. Like, I ain't getting out of the country, because as you can imagine, America's quite strict.
Yeah.
I couldn't even rave. Them lot went raving. I was stressed. Like, I literally was ringing my mum saying, "Oh, I'm just gonna be stuck in America. This has happened. Blah blah blah." Them lot all gone raving. I'm just sat there in the apartment. Come back, and then luckily they let me out, because they said, because you're leaving America, we're easy sort of thing. And I had a British passport at the time, so you're easy, but. Yeah, I was stressed. But yeah, I met his missus. I met him a couple of times when I was out there in Jamaica, but never got to play with him, unfortunately.
Okay, and there's a big legend who I've been a fan of for years.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
What about Ricardo Fuller?
No, he wasn't about. He's not someone I met. He's not someone who was about at the time. And to be fair, to be honest, when I was playing, he wasn't as big as he become. Obviously, probably a couple of years later. I think he's obviously a bit younger than Gardner. But yeah, he's a massive fan of him as well. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay. So going back into your pro career, who would you say is the best player that you shared a pitch with in your pro career?
So obviously at the time, I never realised Wayne Rooney was going to go on to be Wayne Rooney. He was very good obviously at the time, but there was, funny enough, a guy who was betting him at the time, a guy called Lee Croft, scored a hat-trick in that Scottish game. Whereas it shows you like people develop at different times. But yeah, when I was at Reading, we had a few guys who come at the end of their career. So we had Martin Keown come, played in reserves with him. Les Ferdinand come, played in the reserves with him. Nicky Shorey, when I was in the first team, was the left back there. James Harper, Steve Sidwell, obviously pretty good. Leroy Lito, a good friend of mine still, good player. But
what about anyone that you played against?
Played against. You know, I always tell a story of when we play. So Nicky Hammond was a director of Reading at the time, but he used to play for Arsenal, so he had a good link with Arsenal. So we'd always go and play against Arsenal reserves, and they obviously when someone's getting injured and stuff. And we played one game against Arsenal, and I think it was I want to say it was Bergkamp was obviously coming back from an injury, but it was one of them anyway. And on the pitch that day, it was Jermaine Pennant, Bergkamp, Canu, and Bentley.
Oh, hold up a second. You mentioned Pennant. Did you play Pennant Jermaine as well?
Played against Jermaine Pennant, yeah.
He was at Reggae Boys as well, no?
So not in the time I was there. No, definitely not in the time I was there. And like I said, most of them guys were straight in the first team. I was under 23s anyway, so sort of trying to break through.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that one game against Arsenal, yeah, they had all kinds of style like Canu. But the best day on that day was Bentley. Like he obviously played centre mids, and I just couldn't get near him. He was doing stuff, dropping shoulders and sending me to the shop, and yeah, it was ridiculous, chasing shadows all day, man. So yeah, he was amazing at that point.
Brilliant. So after obviously your pro career now, you finished. Where did your football journey continue?
So yeah, obviously after I left Reading, done a bit of journeyman kind of stuff, travelled around like League Two, played for Accrington Stanley, like all the way up north, played for like a few other clubs, like just League Two, Conference Prem. And then I sort of settled in the Conference South in the end. Like obviously I had probably about 2 years of just going from club to club, and couldn't quite settle sort of thing because it's a big drop from the Championship down to there. It's a different style of play. And what people don't always realise, sometimes, especially in centre mids, you rely on how other people are playing. If they're not playing your style, if you're trying to get the ball down and pop it and stuff, they just want to hit channels, it might not work. So like I don't blame anyone. It's just one of them things, isn't it? So I end up in Conference South. I played for Basingstoke. I played for Sutton United, Farnborough, and yeah, that was it for about 3-4 years.
Right, so you've been around then?
Yeah. I played for loads different teams, and then it got to about mid-20s. Like I wasn't even, because what people don't realise is even when you're Conference Prem, you're probably earning enough, especially when you're young, is to not even work at the time. So even in my early 20s, 2021, I wasn't working. I was just playing a high level semi-pro, but I'm still trying to make it, still trying to do my training on the side and stuff. It wasn't until I got to about 22, I thought, you know what, Sim, you're gonna have to try and look at something else, maybe look a job or go and do some studying or something. And then that's it. So that's when I sort of dropped down to the slowly lower leagues.
Okay, so I know obviously you've been playing Sunday League as well in Reading.
Yeah.
What teams were you playing for in Reading?
So Sunday League. So my first Sunday League team was Right Choice. Right Choice Kruger, the guy who started it, is a big reason why I started doing what I done, and probably a lot of other people. He was a big influence, big figure in the community and stuff. Obviously, he had a barber shop back in the day, and yeah, just one of my friends, Brian Gell, who he does Eldon Celtic and that. He is a mate of mine. He said, if you're playing Sunday League, come play for me. And I just played proper low, like 4th div, and just a load of mates and stuff. Started there. And then another good friend of mine, David Denny, took me to D Road, and then that's when I started playing with like some Marcus and Shane and all kinds of people over at D Road. And we done well for a few years. Won the Medici Cup, the league. And we had a good time, man.
Brilliant. So who would you say is the best player that you played with locally in Reading? So
there's a lot. It's a tricky one. Yeah. There's a lot of people I could say. Obviously, everyone would straight away say Shane Small. Like he's the first one. I've even done a poll one time on Instagram. Like when everyone was in lockdown and we had too much time on our hands, and I done a poll and Shane won it. So a lot of people say Shane, but yeah, I say his son as well. D is really good. Yeah. Marcus is a great player. Obviously, he played pro. There's some blatant ones that I could think of. Obviously, Jason. Philip John, really good. Whitty, obviously, Whitty's a great player. Like, to be honest, I played with Whitty at Reading, and I think he started off as a goalie. And then
Whitty was a goalie?
Whitty was a goalie when he first started, and I didn't realise how good he was until I started playing with him semi-pro stroke Sundays. Yeah. And yeah, Whitty's an amazing player. But no, to be honest, there was too many to name. Like Sunday League and low semi-pro, there's a lot of players I played with. I thought, you know what, if you had a bit better advice and applied yourself slightly different, you could play pro. Like there's so many players I played with who were better than players I saw pro, who went and made pro. It's just that little bit of advice and a little bit of luck and all them type of things, if you know what I mean.
Brilliant. Okay, so now we're gonna go on to the S6 Academy. Mm-hmm. What was your main inspiration for setting up the S6 Academy?
So yeah, for that was my son and my...
Sorry, before we go into that,
yeah,
explain what is the S6 Academy about? What is it you guys do?
So, do you know, it started off with my son and my daughter. So my daughter come to me one day and was like, Dad, I want a goal. And like before that, she'd never shown any interest in football. And I was like, yeah, okay, get your goal, just kicking about. And then she just got really into it. So I was like, as you know, I'm a massive football fan. So I was like, oh, nice. I took her once again to Right Choice. I saw what Kruger and that were doing over Right Choice. I really liked it, but it was over in Whitley. I live West Reading, Calcutta. So I always thought, you know, I would like to do something more my side for the guys over our side, whatever. And I just think the more opportunities the kids have in the town, in the community, the better for them, innit? There's more stuff to do. They're not just on the streets or whatever. So I just thought to myself, if I can start something, it just gives kids something to do. Not everyone's going to be a pro. Not everyone wants to be a pro. Some people just want to just run around, meet other kids, sometimes with the same background of them as well. So, like I said, I liked what they were doing, and I just wanted to do something similar. So that was my idea of S6 Academy.
Okay, so obviously back in your day, was there a lot of other kind of one-to-one football coaching? Now you see it quite frequent. Was it like that back in the day?
No, there's nothing like that when we were growing up. And even when I left Reading, to be honest, like, I think one of the biggest problems I found when I left Reading is the first 6 months was the hardest, because I was used to, for 10 years, training every single day, having a routine type thing. So when I left Reading, it's a bit like you literally come into work one day and that's it, you're done, sort of thing. You like might sort your contract, but you're done. That's it. Like, so for a few months, it was a struggle because I didn't have nothing to do type thing. So I go gym, but it's not the same. You can't get the same intensity. So I would have liked a one-to-one coach sometimes. Like someone like, say, there's a guy called Johnny who I think Liam done an interview with recently, Johnny JC Performance. I would have liked a Johnny, or I would have liked a guy I've seen on Instagram, guy Carl Spence. There's loads more. Another guy called Ben who does it. Loads of guys. Obviously myself, I would have liked one of them to be about when I was younger, just to help me. And I'm sure a lot of guys, like I train a few guys who've been released by Reading and other academies, and I try and mentor them as well as coaching, just to say, look, mate, like you might not make it back to the level you've been, but if you put in, you might make it League Two, you might make it Conference Prem, or just keep fit, just stay in it. Don't give up. And I know I had a lot of friends who, once they got released by Reading, they just sit. They've never. You can speak to them now. They got released at Reading at 14 or 15 and they haven't played football since. It's that devastating. So I think the one-to-ones that helps a lot of people get back into it, if you know what I mean, or stay into it.
Okay, so just to let the viewers know, S6 Academy, what age is it open to currently? So
there's two parts of it. So I do like the one-to-one training, which is S6 Academy, but one-to-one training. So that starts from 5. I've got loads of 5-years and it goes all the way up to adult. So I've had people from Giveback come and do a bit of training. I've had pros come in, do a bit of training. I've got like 17, 18-year-olds who either with academies or semi-pro or just grassroots come do a bit of training. It's anything. If you want to play football, I'll do one-to-one training. But the S6 Academy Juniors is mainly, at this moment in time, is based from 4 to 6. So like reception to like year 1, year 2. And then a guy who's just come on board, this guy called Matty Farmlow, he's doing another age group, which is 7 to 8. So that's like, at this moment in time, I think it's under 8s. And obviously in the new season, it's going to be under 9s.
Yeah, because I've been watching videos and stuff on your Instagram, and it seems like you've got a lot of kids coming through.
Yeah. It's, like I say, I always knew there was a market for it. And I spoke to a friend of mine, another guy you guys might have interviewed, Mo. He does Virtue Academy. And I spoke to him just once again in lockdown. We just bumped heads. Obviously, he's a football guy. And I said to him, he was just starting up at the time. I said, there's a massive market for kids, like especially like reception year 1, because their parents want to get them into it, but there's nothing around. Like there are teams who want players a lot of teams are looking for 5-year-olds or pros. They want them straight away. I just think you should, at that age, you should just go and enjoy it. Just go, if you can't kick a ball, just run around, chase people, play bulldog, and then eventually you'll get into it. You'll find your love for it or whatever. And that's what I wanted. That's what inspired me. And obviously, yeah, I'm doing my thing with the 4-year and 6-year-olds. There's loads of kids coming through. We've got 25, 30 signed on, and like we have 4 or 5 coaches. Sometimes I bring the parents in to help out, and like even the ones who ain't the best, they love it. They're there. I started in October, and I think I'd say 95% of the kids haven't missed a session. Every Wednesday they're there.
Oh, serious?
And that's it. And it's good, man. It's good.
And where is it you guys are currently training for the viewers who don't know? So
yeah, thanks to yourselves, your guys, and Whitty, obviously at Reading FC Community, they let us use a dome. So it's like a community-based thing as well. So yeah, we train up at Medeski Dome on a Wednesday now, 5 to 6. And yeah, so you just come down and we get you signed on, and that's it. Like, if your kid wants to play football, boy or girl, between 4 and 6, yeah, come down and get involved.
And how do people get in contact with you guys?
So I've got an Instagram page, which is S6 Academy, or I'm sure that you wouldn't mind them hitting you up on Giveback. And yeah, just hit us up on there. And then, like I say, if you come down to, if it's for the juniors, come down to the Dome on a Wednesday. And yeah, we'll just talk you through it. Like I say, a lot of people, when they first start, they think, oh, my kid might be a bit shy. But every kid we've had literally, no matter how shy or how outgoing they've gone in, and they don't even look back at their mum or dad. Usually start off a bit of bulldog or something, and then that's it. They love it. They come back every time, and then they don't want to go.
Brilliant, brilliant. Love that. And what's your plans for the future with the S6 Academy? Looking to expand, maybe? What's the plan?
So, do you know what? From the beginning, it's been all just quite. Everything's happened fairly natural. Like I said, I started it because for my kids, it was just doing a bit of one-to-one training. Like my son plays for Reading, and my daughter's pretty good, but I just wanted to give him a few pointers. So I got all the equipment and that, like a proper dad. Took them out, and then I put it on a page at the time. It wasn't even supposed to be a football page, and then someone hit me up. My first client actually, so this guy called, the kid's called Caden, and her parents hit me up and said, oh yeah, would you like to, or could you train my kids? And then it just grew from there. And then obviously in lockdown, my son who plays for Reading, all the parents who I obviously know, they were like, oh, would you like to train our boys, just to get them to a few tournaments and stuff? And yeah, just grown, and I would like it just to keep growing sort of thing, just naturally, like, obviously do the 4 to 5 year olds first. We're going to hopefully start a team in September, under 7s, and then if that goes well, and under 8s, under 9s, hopefully link up with Giveback, and yeah, go from there.
Brilliant, brilliant. Love that, love that. I think as well, it's key to mention that you're FA qualified as well. So I think that's quite important.
Yeah.
How did you get into the whole getting qualified to do your coaching?
So that was through Reading. So we've done, I think, a part of our college thing. When you're 15, you do your level 1 and level 2. So yeah, that's something I've had from young. And then I moved on to. I need to do a couple more badges, to be honest. It's something I'd like to push on, do a few more in time. But yeah, level 1 and level 2 is what I've got at the moment. And like obviously you've got lots of health and safety stuff you need, but I won't go into all that for now.
Brilliant, brilliant, love that. So, just to end it now, what advice would you give to someone who's looking to, get into either coaching or get into that kind of field?
So, yeah, if you've got the love for it, like I find a lot of dads and that start it late, and then obviously even guys who might have been playing football and they either hasn't quite worked out for them or something, think that's a different avenue. But yeah, if you've got a passion for it, I'd definitely say get into it, because it gives you a little bit more knowledge of the game as well. So if you're playing, it gives you a little bit of knowledge of the other side of it. But I'd say, yeah, go for it. Like it's always good to try different things. And like there's lots of teams always looking for coaches, and you enjoy it. Like obviously, I never thought when I was playing, I never thought I'd be a coach or something I would ever do. But when I stopped, or near the end when I stopped, I looked into it and I love it now. So I'd put up there with playing.
Brilliant. Well, Simeon, it was lovely to have you today. Glad to hear about your history. Yeah. And all I can do is wish all the best for the S6 Academy. I think it's amazing what you've set up.
Cheers.
And I can see the children are enjoying it. And I think hopefully more children can get involved, and hopefully you guys expand in the future.
Oh yeah, thanks man, thanks.
Brilliant. So guys, that's a wrap. Another Behind the Brand episode with the S6 Academy. Stay tuned for more, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and also share to the local community. Peace.